DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts.
Don't you start with me today.
Dr. Gearloose?
Some kid.
As a Junior Woodchuck Robotics Badge candidate, I was able to trace the wheel tread at the bank robbery to one of your patents.
Oh, wait, ba. What bank robbery?
The armored Avenger who stopped the bank robbery? You created a superhero for Duckburg, didn't you? I had some ideas that could.
I did what? Oh, that subhuman interning piece of... I'll show him not to meddle with my darlings.
It's the week of Friday, July 20th, and you're listening to episode 33 of DuckTalks. Hey everyone, this is Mitch. I'm one of your hosts, and I've got Pirate Steven with me.
Ahoy there, Duckburg. Pirate Steven. How's it going? Man, I feel like it's been a really busy week. I don't know if it's just my work week was busy or duck news, but it's busy week.
It's been a little bit of everything for sure. I've had a busy week at work. We had some technical difficulties on Monday, so we weren't able to record the show live. So we're hiding in our corner, recording on Skype tonight so that we can get an episode out this week.
That's okay. We're here. That's all that matters.
We are dedicated, if nothing else. Well, let's go ahead and jump into things for this week. Hey, welcome to the show, and we're going to talk about DuckTales. We like to talk about the new show. There's a lot going on with the new show, including a lot of merchandise. We're going to talk about that tonight. We also talk about comic books, the DuckTales comic books, old and new, and we've just got video games, a few things we'll talk about. Before we get into that, though, we're going to take a look at a listener email. We enjoy getting emails from those who listen to the podcast, or follow us on our website at DuckTalks.com. And this email came from Steve. So Steve's emailed us before. And Steve asks, here is something to ponder. In this week's episode of DuckTales, Who is Gizmoduck? Mark Beaks forces Gizmoduck to only help those that sign up for his app. And one of those jobs is marriage counseling to a pig couple. But is the male pig someone from the past that history is linked in the footnote of Donald's past forever? Peter Pig, Donald Duck's old comedy partner before Donald went solo. Now, I know you've started reading through the Don Rosa collection. I don't know Peter Pig. Do you know Peter Pig?
Peter Pig, I believe, in the first... I don't believe. I kind of know this. He's not in the comics yet.
Okay.
From what I've seen, Peter Pig was in the first Donald Duck cartoon. I don't know if you remember the wise little hen.
Yeah.
The Peter Pig and Donald try to trick the hen out of their corn.
Right.
And they act sick and they do all these little stuff to try to get her corn.
Because they didn't want to work on harvesting or planting the corn, but then they wanted the corn.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's Peter Pig. I don't remember, or I can't recall the actual face to see if that's Peter Pig from. I mean, pigs.
Pretty much all look alike.
I didn't want to go there, but
it's a pig.
It's a pig.
It's not bacon.
We don't know if that is Peter Pig, but it'd be cool if it was. So we'll just say it is.
I like the idea of it being Peter Pig. I wasn't sure who Peter Pig was, but I like the idea that this is a call-out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm going with it. Hey, Steve, thanks for the email. And also, if you've got a burning question that you want to ask us, or if you've got a topic you'd like for us to talk about, make sure you send those emails to ducktalkspod@gmail.com.
I feel like after this next episode, we're going to be very busy with both emails and by just watching the episode over and over again and writing blogs about all the hidden items in it, because they're going to Scrooge McDuck's other vault, and who knows what kind of hidden items he has in there, and we're going to be definitely trying to cover all that.
I really like how they fit Easter eggs in, and that's it's not in the notes, but that's one of the things I think we should talk about this week. Is it in the notes? It's not in the notes. It doesn't need to be. This will get edited out.
I don't like to go off the notes, you know?
But yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs throughout the show, and I like how they fit them in. There's one in particular this week there's actually been a little bit of discussion on the website and on Twitter about whether or not this is whether or not the hockey mask and hockey stick was a callback to the Mighty Ducks or not. I feel like it is, but there's some out there that think it might not be.
I mean, it totally could be. I don't see any reason why it would be definitively not from that era. But I don't see why it would hurt if it wasn't. I mean, there could be a hockey team in Duckburg. I mean, it's a sporty place.
Yeah.
I could definitely see the kids playing hockey, and who knows, maybe they'll play the St. Canard hockey team, and that's where Gosling gets introduced. Who knows?
Ooh.
We know that there's an issue of the DuckTales comic coming out. I don't know which one it is, but we've seen covers, and there's a hockey scene on the cover. So we know hockey exists in that world, and you know what? Before you even wrote that article, I knew in my heart that was a Mighty Ducks reference. So if it is, it isn't. That's the mask that Wild Wing wore in that show. So it's cool regardless.
Yeah, and there's some more coming. We know they're coming, so it'll be cool to see in the other bin what kind of treasure might hint at stories and things that we've seen throughout the years of all the various shows of the Disney Afternoon. That's been fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, and it's whether it's hinted at or not. To be real, it kind of gives me like a Gravity Falls type thing where in each of those episodes there was like hidden stuff in it and you had to like try to solve it. I feel like that's kind of like the solving mysteries in DuckTales. Solve the mysteries and see what you I feel like it gives a lot of rewatch value for the episodes to find things that you might not have seen the first time you watch it. So if it is, if it isn't, it's cool to have something in there that looks like it so we can dream along.
In the Funzo's Fun Zone episode, when they're getting on when they're riding the bus and Webby says something about there's a dog with a bow tie. That's still goofy, right?
Well, you know what? I said it was goofy, and then Frank said,
Oh, he did? I didn't realize he responded.
I called it out, and he's like, not everything's an Easter egg, but
well,
a dog with a collar sounds just like Goofy. So you know what? I would have just said it was.
Yeah, I told someone else this week on social media, said in my fan mind, it is absolutely 100% true.
Right.
So
and we know that in that first episode they said Spoonerville, so we know Spoonerville exists and Goofy's got to be somewhere.
Well, let's take a look at the news. First item, this is Friday, this will be out on Friday. That's the beauty of podcasting. It's weird because it's actually Thursday for us, but it's Friday if you're listening to this. I hope to get this out on Friday.
Oh, man, now you got to hold yourself to that.
Well, that's why I say it. I try to hold myself to it. But tomorrow morning or Saturday morning, maybe last Saturday morning, there's a new episode of DuckTales. See how confusing that can be? And the title is The Other Bin of Scrooge McDuck. We've already talked about it a little bit. Let's read the description real quick. Lena's loyalties are tested when Magica forces her to lead Webby on a raid to a facility full of Scrooge's most dangerous artifacts to find his number one dime. Now, another Lena Webby episode, possibly some Scrooge, definitely some Magica, was already pretty exciting. I was already looking forward to this episode. But then Frank Angones, the co-producer of DuckTales, had to hit that level 11. He had to turn it up a notch. He tweeted this week, last week on DuckTales, notions of shifting identity in light of constant societal demand. Next week, Bigfoots. Oh, and crushing betrayal, but Bigfoots. Now, This is
You love Bigfoot.
I do love Bigfoot. So this is a podcast about DuckTales. We don't always get into our other passions like, Disney Infinity and Overwatch and some other things we talk about. But I have always been obsessed with the lore of Bigfoot. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that I believe there's a creature out there, a North American ape, smart enough to hide from us and, evade technology and all of that. So I'm not going to say that I think that it's true, but I'm going to say that I definitely enjoy the folklore, the history, and the lore of the creature. And I like that. I'll watch a documentary about Bigfoot just because I think that's really cool that across the planet, there's, all these people who, say they've seen something or have experienced something, and there's no other explanation, per se. But I think it's cool that I didn't see that coming from this episode because I thought this episode was pretty self-contained. I don't know how they're going to fit a Bigfoot into this story. I got to thinking about it yesterday, and when Day of the Only Child, when Huey was out in the woods trying to earn his woodchuck badge in order to not have a lopsided sash. When that tree fell, he fell into the next door neighbor's house. So the woods are pretty close to the McDuck mansion. There's a pretty lush forest in their backyard.
Here's my take on Bigfoot. So I live in Florida. I like to go swimming. I like to go to the beach. There's some hairy people out there. And as we get older, people are just getting hairier. So I believe in Bigfoot.
It's true. As people get older,
necessarily know it's an ape, a human person, but there's some hairy people out there. So I could totally see a Bigfoot walking around somewhere. And people's feet are getting bigger. So, I mean,
right.
They get swollen.
It's a known fact.
Yeah, so it's cool that this is going to be in this episode. Like you said, it was a surprise because you would think that this is going to be jam-packed, and where else are you going to fit another second or third storyline in it? But it should be interesting to see the interactions between the boys and Bigfoot.
Well, and Disney released a couple of images of the Bigfoot. They're not blurry, which should be expected, but they're not blurry. They're very clear. So that's different in Duckburg, and it has Huey and Louie in the image. So maybe we get an episode focusing on these two brothers on a side story. I'm saying it's a side story because I think the Lena Webby story will be the main. But maybe no Dewey.
No, Dewey will be there somewhere. I feel like Dewey's their money maker, and they need maybe he's filming Dewey tonight or something.
Or playing with Ninja Turtles.
He'll be there somewhere.
But looking forward to that episode. That's going to be this weekend. What's the normal time now? 9:30? It's a little later in the morning.
9:30, and it used to be you could go on Disney On Demand at exactly midnight and see it, but they're holding that back until the episodes. I don't know if Frank or anybody told them anything, but ever since that Darkwing Duck episode, it seems like it's getting a little later. The Disney Now app seems to be earlier than that. I don't know what time it was. I think it was because I checked around, I was up at 5 and I happened to check, and I feel like it was available 5 Eastern.
Yeah, I've talked about how I've switched to Sling TV, and before they had the episodes available earlier, but that had not been the case since I switched back until last week. Last week when we got up, we were up a little bit earlier, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to check it. Maybe we can go ahead and watch it because we were planning on getting out. And sure enough, it was already on there. So thank you, Sling TV. Obviously, they listened to our podcast.
Oh, yeah, they're big time listeners.
Let's check out the August air dates. So this was exciting. This news had been out there for a couple of days when I guess it was the day of that it came out. But zap to it. If you follow television shows and you try to keep up with when the latest episodes are coming out or trying to get the descriptions, Zaptoit is Zaptoit.com is a website for you. They regularly jump the gun and have the information up before you get it from the official sources. Not sure how that happens, but it's just well known. I've seen it with Star Wars Rebels a number of times over the last few seasons. But they have the episodes for August already up on their calendar. And so we have those episodes, titles. They do not have the descriptions, but the titles and the air dates are on their website. So we have, after we get through July, so let's see, we've got this week with the other Ben of Scrooge McDuck, and next week is the last crash of the Sun Chaser, and then we'll be into August. So August 4th, we have the secret. Well, actually, it's secret, and then in parentheses, there's an S. So there may be more than one secret. The Secrets of Castle McDuck. And this is the episode that's going to have Graham McTavish. McTavish? How you say that?
Whatever you say.
Yeah, McTavish. I'm horrible with names. We have Graham McTavish, who will be doing Scrooge's father's voice.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Scrooge's father's name is Fergus.
Mm-hmm.
I was introduced to him a lot in the comics that I've been reading, so it should be a really cool episode.
On August the 11th, oh wait, I am totally wrong here. The last crash of the Sun Chaser is August 11th. So what episode is next week?
Don Karnage.
That's right. That's the one that wasn't listed for the longest time, and we were assuming it was going to be the 28th. So Sky Pirates in the Sky is next week. The following week is Castle McDuck. And then August the 11th is the last crash of the Sun Chaser. Now, it's being rumored, and I'm not sure where the rumors come from, but I think it has to do with the description of the episode that's floating around there. But it's been rumored that this episode will talk a lot about the Della story. At least Dewey will confront Scrooge about Della. So it feels like that's going to be a lead up to those final, the finale for the season.
Yeah, and then we know the two finale episodes are Magica related. So I feel like that would be a good way to get the Della storyline flowing again, because they'll probably have some Della in those last episodes as well.
Yeah, I feel like those stories have to be connected.
Yeah.
It could be wrong, but I think they're going to be. The final two episodes will air together. They no longer have separate titles. At one point, we saw separate titles for the last two episodes. Now they're just a single episode titled The Shadow War, and that is going to air on August the 18th.
Now, my bet is that it'll be The Shadow War, be one episode, but just like Woohoo, they'll break it up into two episodes because that's easier to air on the Disney Channel.
Things have been going well on the Disney Channel. I feel like the move has been very good for the show.
Yeah. I like the Disney Channel.
So speaking of Don Karnage and the Sky Pirates, we had some news about that this past week as well. This was, Sasquatch was surprising, but this about made me fall out of my chair. Not going to lie. I was not expecting this. This also came from a tweet from Frank, didn't it?
Yes. No, Entertainment Weekly kind of broke it.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was talking over you.
Entertainment Weekly had an article on their website about this.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it. I think he shared it, and I saw it from there. But Don Karnage will not be voiced by Jim Cummings in the episode Sky Pirates in the Sky. He will be voiced by Jaime Camil. Now, that name may or may not be familiar to you. He's actually acted in a lot of things, but the one thing that stood out to me was the one thing we weren't supposed to know about. He is the voice of Panchito Pistoles in The Legend of the Three Caballeros.
Oh, that's the name you can pronounce? Yeah, so he's got a kind of a fan base. I know a lot of people were kind of upset that Jim Cummings wasn't being the voice. But as we know, Jim Cummings is a little busy. He's doing all of the Christopher Robin stuff, and he might not have been available for this when they were doing it. And from what I'm sure, this guy, and we've seen some of his stuff from Panchito, and I feel like this guy's gonna knock it out of the park.
I'm looking forward to it regardless. The character was always one of my favorites. Anytime the Air Pirates were in Tailspin, they were called Air Pirates in Tailspin, right? Not Sky
Yes.
Pirates?
Yes.
Okay. So I thought that was always the case, but those were always some of my favorite stories. And, you know, those planes that they flew were just a lot of fun. They made toys of those too, didn't they?
They were, I believe they were Happy Meal toys as well.
Yeah, I remember having a set of those. They were like die cast with the plastic figure.
Yeah. I feel like the thing that made the only I'm fine if Jim Cummings is not doing it. I know it's for good reasons, and I trust the process. The only thing that bothered me, I feel like IMDb lied to me.
Right?
Because,
a few times about this show.
No kidding. So
no longer a source here at DuckTalks.
It's had Don Karnage, and it was not would be Jim Cummings, and it wasn't. So can't trust you anymore, IMDb. Sorry.
You know, I had heard from a reliable source that IMDb was ran by a company, and that they do source their information, but apparently it's just a wiki. But I'm looking forward to this episode, and we have seen a lot of discussion about it online, social media. A lot of people responded upset that Jim wasn't doing the voice, and I'm not going to say I was upset that Jim wasn't doing the voice, because I know that if Frank and Matt could have had Jim do the voice, he would have done the voice, or they felt like they had somebody who could do their character, could do a better job with their character. Not to say that Jim couldn't fill in anywhere, but they had someone they wanted to use. And so I trust them. I'm looking forward to it. It does have me wondering, we've been trying to piece together this whole Darkwing Duck thing. How's this going to work? We know they want to use him. We know they want to do more with him. But you've got the character that seems to be similar to the character we know, but he's, from the 90s, and so now he would be older. And Launchpad even made the comment that, he pretty busted up after those later episodes. So I'm wondering if, we're talking about Jim Cummings voicing the Jim Starling version of Darkwing. I'm wondering if the show doesn't end up with a different Darkwing later. And how would we feel if Jim doesn't voice that Darkwing?
As long as when they reboot it, it's Jim from the 90s to Darkwing, I think we'll all be okay.
I'm going to be okay with it. They already gave us Jim Cummings as Darkwing Duck in one of the most epic scenes that they could have ever done with Darkwing Duck. And it was one of the biggest surprises. I mean, I think I've talked about it on this show. It was ruined for me from someone else who was trying to give me they didn't tell me it was a spoiler, but I ended up with a spoiler. So I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when. And so when it happened, because I really did not expect Darkwing Duck in that episode. I think we talked about that on our podcast a couple of times. I thought we'd get a couple of Easter eggs. We'd hear the voice. We'd see the bobblehead. When that episode began, my mind was blown. So,
yeah, Jim Starlin seems to be a lot taller than the Darkwing Duck we knew. At least his toy is a lot taller. That was released from Fat Mojo. It looks like he's bigger than Launchpad. But there might be some differences. We don't know how they're going to hash out Darkwing Duck. We know it's going to be in season 2 because season 1 is pretty much written and done. Hopefully we find out more about that this weekend, because San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend, and last year from the panel is when we found out that Darkwing Duck was even in this DuckTales. So hopefully there's some more information released this weekend, as well as I'm looking forward to hopefully a season 2 trailer.
That'd be cool. We know they've already been working on season 2. It was greenlit a long time ago. And they had the 5-month hiatus.
It felt for like forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I saw Frank said that wait till you see what the clip or reel they're bringing. So it could be a season 2 one, or it could be the dramatic finale type that they wanted to show. That they want to show that's coming in August.
Yeah, I believe the panel's at like 3:30 Pacific time. So we're East Coast. My plans are to get home and to be scouring the internet for that person who's willing to record it while they're there. I found someone last year.
I'm sure you'll be able to find somebody this year too.
Let's talk about Beyond DuckTales. We've already talked about this a couple of times. We kicked it off right after our interview with Morgan G. Cale. Now, Morgan is the director of the Scrooge Mystery documentary, or Duckumentary, as he calls it. That's going to be released, we believe, in October. It's going to have a Blu-ray release. Was there a DVD release as well?
There's actually, so it's 4 different options you have. So there's the Blu-ray Collector's Edition, which has a bunch of bonus features. That's the one we recommend. There's going to be a DVD Collector's Edition, which it's going to be the same bonus features, I believe, plus, but it's in standard SD, not HD. And then there's going to be a Blu-ray edition with, I think, just the trailers, and then as this bonus features, and then a DVD with just the trailer. So those are the 4 options that people have available, and you can pre-order now. I don't know necessarily if you need to pre-order because they'll still have them available. Maybe they won't. Don't get bit if you really want to see this.
Yeah, and you can get those at thescroogemystery.com. We have links. We'll have links in the show notes for this episode as well. Morgan was great, but talking with Morgan and talking with others in the Duck fan community, their passion for Don Rosa's work, really stood out to us. And we've been talking about it for a while, and we've been talking about getting a hold of, the Don Rosa library. We've both pre-ordered the Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, the hardcover that's going to be coming out. What was it, like February?
Yeah.
So we've both pre-ordered that, and so we were talking about that, and Morgan was like, no, you need to read all of the stories. You need to go ahead and get a hold of Fantagraphics, Don Rosa Library, and just read all of those. You'll get Life and Times. It's in there, but it's all great. And he sold us. We were sold, so we started looking at going ahead and moving forward with reading those. And so we got a hold of the Fantagraphic Don Rosa Library, and it starts with Volume 1, of course. And the title on this is The Son of the Sun, because I guess that's the first story in this volume. I guess that's how they title these.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily the first story. They just pick whatever like the big issue is from all the different comics. Okay. The Fantagraphics is awesome. They do this library of Don Rosa's. He had 88 different stories that he did from Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck, and this library, which includes really nice hardback books that you put all together on a shelf, and you would have the entire collection of Don Rosa's stories. I mean, that's if you think about it, at how long and how much money it would cost for you to try to collect all 88 stories. And I know that we'll have listeners that say they have them all. That's very impressive. But to have them all in the hardback book and to have them on your shelves, I think everybody, they're like $30 a piece, but you can probably get them on sale. Amazon has them, a lot of them for $20 and $25, but they're very impressive. It's so great to have all of them in one place chronologically. This first book, this volume 1 we're talking about, for example, will have the first 13 stories that he worked on. And they're awesome. They're really great stories. I enjoy them just as much, if not better, than all the other Duck stories that we've heard about Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck, and they're very enjoyable to read. And I think they're for everybody. All ages could read these. And what's cool about the Fantagraphics editions is you can tell that Don got to do a lot of fun stuff with these books in his library. That each story has like a behind the scenes feature at the end of the book, where he several paragraphs talks about why he might have done something in a story, or why this character is in there, or if there's any like hidden Easter eggs or tributes to anything or any references. He'll talk about that at the end. And it also collects all the different covers and cool stuff that I think anybody would benefit and treasure. These Fantagraphics editions are awesome.
Yeah, it's cool that they have the special features, kind of like a Blu-ray special features with the added commentary and all of that. I've really enjoyed. We've already started reading these. Here's what we're doing. We're calling this Beyond DuckTales because our Duck fandom really started with DuckTales when we were kids, and now we've got the new show going on, which has been great because we're enjoying that with our families, and we just want more. And so we're going to read through Don Rosa's library. And the first week in August, we'll have a special episode of DuckTalks where we're just going to talk about Volume 1 of the Don Rosa Library. And we want you all to join us with that. Now, if you're a collector and you want to get the hardcover that you can put on your bookshelf and, show it off and everything, because like Pirate said, it's an awesome collection. You can buy that. I think Amazon, the last time we looked, it was like $25 on Amazon. You might be able to find it, Barnes and Noble, places like that as well. But if you're not looking to collect the series and have it on a shelf, but you want to read along with us, there's some really good deals out there on the digital. Amazon.com has this volume for like $8 digital, and you can either read it on Kindle or Comixology, which is a company that Amazon owns. You can buy your comics that way as well. But so you can do that and read along with us, $8, and that's going to give you, what was it, 13 stories you said?
Yeah, 13 of his first stories plus all the bonus content. So I think that is a steal that even Scrooge McDuck couldn't pass up.
So it's going to be great. We're looking forward to sharing this with you all. Pirates, I think you went ahead and read the whole first volume, haven't you?
Yeah, there's such an easy and great read and entertainment read that I just couldn't put it down. I read about 50 pages a day. It's about 200. I think this first volume that we're reading through is 215 pages.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to find some of those pages is just like a cover of the comic book. So yeah, I think it's great. There's 10 total volumes in this Don Rosa library from Fantagraphics, and we're just going to try to do 2 each week. And I think it'll be what's going to be really cool is this is going to be a fun way to spend the hiatus between season 1 and 2. It will give our community chance to do other stuff while we wait for the new episodes. And I definitely recommend you guys read them with us. And by the time we're done, it's probably going to be around, we're reading all 10 volumes, will probably be around November. And that'll be right around the time that after the Scrooge Mystery comes out. So by the time we've read all the books and seen Scrooge Mystery, we're going to be Don Rosa experts. It's going to be crazy. And I think it's funny. Morgan said, the director of Scrooge Mystery said, because we told him about this book club we're starting, and he said this is the second best thing he's done since Scrooge Mystery. So I took that as a good compliment.
Looking forward to it. And we've got a blog out there. It includes links. Of course, we're an affiliate with Amazon, so if you follow one of our links and purchase this book or anything else, it supports DuckTalks at no additional cost to you. So we appreciate that as well. It helps us do things like this where, we can participate with our listeners and readers. And we're going to do some blogs as well. We're actually kind of held up on the blogs waiting on something. But here at any day now, you're going to see the floodgates open with blogs about these stories. And I think you said 2 per week. We're going to do 2 per month, right?
Sure.
Every other week.
Yeah, every other week we're going to do one.
And the hard copies come packaged. Not all of them, but I've noticed that some of them come too, and you can save a little bit of money by buying them paired together.
Yeah, they actually started doing these. We're going to have to fact check this later, but I think it was in 2014, and they were doing like 2 volumes per year. So it's kind of cool that we're towards the end of this libraries that they're releasing, and that 9 and 10, volume 9 actually comes out next week. And it's one that a lot of our listeners would be interested in. It actually has one of the main stories. It is about the 3 Caballeros, and it's kind of like a sequel story, because there hasn't been between the 3 Caballeros when it first came out till when this book came out. There wasn't much in between there. We know that there's this new show that should be coming out soon. But this comic was before the show, so this is a good way to whet your appetite for any 3 Caballeros merchandise or entertainment would be to get the volume 9 of this book. And then volume 10 of the Don Rosa Library comes out in October. So by October, all 10 volumes will have been out. Perfect
timing. We couldn't have done that better had we actually planned it.
Yeah, and it's funny that the Scrooge Mystery happens to come out in October, so everything's great for them.
Well, speaking of a Blu-ray, let's talk about some Duck merch. So we had the Toymageddon. We had a weekend where just toys and products showed up at Target. We were watching for it. It was kind of unexpected, and we just had a blast watching everybody get a hold of stuff. We were able to get a hold of a few things ourselves. My wife sent me a text from Target, and she was looking at the end cap, and it had been picked over a little bit. We were able to get a few things. We got all the kids and the action figures, but my Target doesn't have, or last I checked, even on the website, it says that my Target doesn't carry the mystery boxes, the money stacks. I imagine that's going to change, and from what we've seen online, that's going to change. But there was a Target near me who had them, but it didn't say out of stock. It said not carried or something like that, so it was odd. But anyway, we got the action figures, and the girls have been playing with them. I thought they were around here, but I don't see them now. They've been playing with them all week. You also had a pretty good trip, didn't you?
I would say pretty good. I mean, I've still never seen them in the stores. My Target, I looked in, it says in stock, but they're not on the shelves yet. We know that luckily we made friends and have good contact at Fat Mojo with the CEO that runs Fat Mojo, and he told us that I feel like the official release is going to be next week in Targets. They should all have their shelves. These things have been flying off. From what he's been saying is these things have been flying off the shelves so quick that they're having trouble sending all the inventory out. So by the time the second run is ready next week, all the stores should have them.
He said during that first weekend, I mean early into that first week, there were stores that were already sold out. So the products are moving.
Yeah, so if there's anything, I'm sure they'll always. I can't promise you that they can have. It's like the Tsum Tsums. You can't find the DuckTales Tsum Tsums, and you thought they'd be around forever.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of quantity there are of these.
Yeah, so I wouldn't wait too much on them. I mean, they could always be on sale later on down the line.
But they're a good price. And
if there's something you want, like the Glom Golds, everybody's got to have Glom Gold.
Oh yeah, we got the Glom Gold. I forgot to say that.
So I would get those. I was worried about getting the mystery figures, and I wanted to knock that part out fast. So what I did was I saw my store had them in stock, but they weren't on the shelves, and I just ordered. I was in the store and I did it in store. I ordered them for in-store pickup, and I ordered a case of them, and they were ready in 15 minutes. I got a text saying they were ready. Pick them up at customer service. So wherever it was, in the back, they must have just dumped a bunch of those mystery money stackers into a bag, and that's what I bought. So
they weren't in a box. You actually got them. They were individual in a bag.
Well, it looks like they just, because there's 18 in a case, and that's how many I'd order, and it looked like they had just dumped a complete case box.
So they didn't give you the case box?
They didn't give me the box. Can you believe that? Target.
Wow. And now I know we've seen online, you've already been keeping up with it as far as the numbers of what characters are in the boxes. There's like 3 Hueys, everybody else got 2, and then Darkwing got a single. Yeah,
Darkwing's the rare. He is 1 per case. At least that's from, I've seen my case that I've gotten and 2 other people's, and they've reported the same thing, that there's 3 Hueys and then 2 of everybody else, and then 1 of Darkwing. So, and you can actually see who's in the money stacker if you are scared of dupes. Is if you look through the because they're actually little money banks that are coin stack, and if you look through the slot hole for the coin, you can see the characters inside. Like Darkwing is so tall, you'd be like looking at him straight in the eye. If you're in the store, you can actually use your phone to have like a little flashlight to even help you look what's in that slot. Now,
Lena's in that. She's a single too, isn't she?
Lena has 2 in a box. The top row, if you're looking at a box, and the top row, I believe from what I've seen, is all the kids. And then, so if you want like a Lena, and the Scrooge McDuck is actually one of my favorites in this set, because he's like in an action pose. He's got his cane out like he's going to fight the peg leg pirate or Manny from the first episode. Really, really cool piece. I think everybody should look for him as well. But Scrooge, Lena, and Darkwing are definitely the ones to get in this set. You need them all, but get those 3 first.
Well, they're out there. We're expecting, like you said, this weekend to be... Is it this weekend or next weekend?
I've heard the 23rd. I've heard the 26th. So it's one of those days.
Yeah, so we're expecting them to be more available. We don't know for how long. And we'll definitely stay on top of that. Like Pirate said, we've been talking with Fat Mojo. So, as often as we can get news, Sean's been great. I had an instance where I was talking with someone on social media, and they asked a question that I was like, this is what we think, but maybe Sean can answer that. And he was there and answered the question. So they're doing their best to try and meet the demand and to help fans get a hold of what they're looking for. And they've all been great.
Yeah, they've been really great. And I even, this is great. And that the fact that they're flying off the shelves, this is great for a possible wave 2 or more in the future. So keep buying them.
We've also got in Duck Merch, we've got this. Josh blogged about this today. The Disney Afternoon Collection. It's normally $20. Now this is the collection of the 4, 5, 6. Is it 6 games? There's 2 sets of sequels and then a couple of singles. So 6 games. It's the classic NES games. They're on the PlayStation 4. We all play PlayStation, so that's what we know, or what we're commonly watching the sales for. Maybe on Xbox as well. So maybe that was released on Xbox, right? We're not sure about that.
Xbox One.
Xbox One. Okay. So you might check there. It may be on sale there as well, but without creating more suspense, $5.99. It's a great price. I paid $20 for mine, and I think it was well worth it.
I paid $20 as well. I mean, $5.99. It's $1 a game for the best games
on the NES.
It's funny that they're not available for the Switch, which I would rebuy these games for it if they had it. They're that good.
At least it's 5 of the best games on the NES.
Oh yeah, we don't count Tailspin. So
that game's so difficult.
We bought the games and we were playing them for Extra Life, which is a charity for children's hospitals, and we might do it again this year. Who knows? But we definitely plan on playing through. You can play DuckTales or Darkwing or Rescue Rangers pretty much anytime. Pick it up and play. It is fun. Even how many times you beat it. I've played that game probably more than DuckTales, more than any other game. We'll probably do some more live streaming of it just because it's fun. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to beat if you know what you're doing. So we'll play that again for everybody on Twitch.
Yeah, we have a fun evening of it sometime. Maybe not doing all 6 because that was a long stream. Oh. We were on for like 8+ hours.
Yeah, Tailspin kind of tripped us up.
Well, and Darkwing Duck got me.
Yeah.
Oh well. So yeah, check that out. That's a good deal if you don't already have it. It's a great time to get it. $6.
$6, can't beat it.
Yep. That's going to do it for news and Duck merch. So now it's time to get into the part of the show where we're going to talk about the latest episode of DuckTales. So here's what we do if you're new to the show. We're going to randomly pick one of us, and one of us will do a 30-second recap of the last episode. And then after that, we'll talk about some of our favorite parts. You ready for this, Pirate?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
A little nervous? Have you done any prep?
No. Prep?
I always prep for these.
Because you always get picked.
I always get picked. All right, I'm bringing up the randomizer. It's already on my desktop. All right, so you get to pick between 1 and 2.
All right, 2.
And it's 1.
Yes!
Just kidding. No, it is 1. All right, here we go.
Your randomizer really sucks. I mean, it picks 1 every time.
It does. It doesn't, though, because I sit here and I have tested it. It doesn't pick 1 every time. It's just every time I pick 1, it picks 1.
You're really honest about it since you're the only one that can see it. That's a good part.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Huey and Donald are trying to get a loan. Fenton is trying to get a free polo shirt. Beagle Boys show up in Sunstashes. Gizmoduck saves the people, destroys the money. Huey hero crushes on Gizmoduck. Mama wants Fenton to get a job. Fenton wants to learn how to use the armor. Gyro gets mad and Fenton turns to Mark Beaks. Mark Beaks turns him into Waddle Duck and tries to control him. Beaks takes over, almost destroys City, and Fenton saves the day. 27.16.
Nice.
Yeah, getting good at that. Now, when I say I prepare, I don't ever check to see how long it is.
No, that was a good synopsis of what happened.
There are some things that I immediately know that I missed, like the whole, and we've already talked about it, but the whole hockey mask and stick. I don't know why that's not in there.
I like how you included they were wearing Sunstashes because that's what it looked like, even though we know that's not what they were wearing. That was very cool.
So let me ask you this. So that was definitely Scrooge, no doubt. Was the other one Donald?
I feel like the other one was Donald, yeah.
So they're well-known adventures, just not to the boys.
Right. And then I like that, just starting around the beginning of the episode, I like that the Beagle Boys knew Huey by name. Mm-hmm. We're only like 18 episodes, or I believe, into the season, and they know Huey is Huey, which is cool.
Well, they kind of had a moment in Day of the Only Child.
They did. They were kind of rivals there. Like that. We found out Mark Beaks likes pad thai. I tweeted out that I like pad thai as well, so we have that in common.
One of my favorite lines wasn't a Launchpad line. One of my favorite lines was when Bouncer says, "Why are we wearing masks over our other masks?"
Yeah, that's good. I feel like this is like a breakthrough. Mark Beaks is great in all the episodes he's been in, but this is a really good one for him. You got to see a different, more evil side of him. And I see that just building up and continue. This won't be the last Mark Beaks episode. It'll keep on be reoccurring. And I love that it's like a modern type of storyline in a DuckTales episode.
Yeah, and people have been asking us that about Mark Beeks. There's been a portion of the fan community that hasn't wanted to accept that he was a villain. He definitely went full-blown villain in this episode. Not just, dark clouds and strange face. I mean, he full-on tried to take over the Gizmoduck armor and ruined everything. Did you notice...
I like how he's like, pew, 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 pew. And he's like shooting lasers at everybody.
I do that at work now, and everybody's like, what are you doing? It's like, never mind. I'm so much cooler online. Did you notice on Mark Beek's wall, you mentioned the pad thai, while he's working, he's got a list of ship names for him and Gizmoduck?
Yeah, that's definitely encouraging the shipping crowd.
And Frank was asked about it. What was it supposed to mean? And he said he was trying to come up with his own name for when he takes over. So it was always the plan for Mark Beeks to become Gizmoduck. Or Waddle Duck.
Waddle Duck, when your life's in a mess and you're down on your luck and you've just done your best, but it's all run amok. You need Waddle Duck. Waddle Duck.
Because was that not rad? That music?
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm hoping we get a soundtrack at some point for DuckTales with the songs that we know are going to be in the Don Karnage episode, and then Waddle Duck and the new theme song as well.
So we did get some Donald. It's been a little while, I think, since we had Donald in an episode. At the beginning in the bank when he gets tied up with the pin wire. The string that keeps the pin tied down at the bank.
Yeah,
great.
And no launch pad, but one of the greatest moments in this episode, and we got to say it again, Glomgold.
Right. That was disturbing.
I mean, draw me like one of those French girls, I'm sure he said to him. But the cool part is, like, we learned from Jason, it's great when they could put a character in an episode and he doesn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it's just like a bonus character.
He doesn't always have to talk.
Yeah, he didn't even do it. He didn't even move.
It's one of the funniest moments of the episode.
Funniest part. Yeah, exactly. Him and Launchpad can have that effect, and they can do that.
Now, some of the creators of the show, they took that image and made a shirt out of it, and it says "Stay Glomgolden." We saw that. We'd seen the shirt previously, but I don't guess it really left a mark. It should have, until we saw it again this past week. But I thought that was interesting that they used that image.
They obviously knew how funny it was.
Right. No doubt.
It's hysterical. And you know what? Maybe now we need a shirtless Glomgold action figure. All right, now that I said it out loud, we don't need it.
We don't need it.
But
you're right.
A shirt, I'd buy.
Might be a Hot Topic exclusive.
Boxer shorts, shirt, yeah, sure. We need more Glomgold. But yeah, it was Donald was in it, and Scrooge at the end was in it.
That was really cool. That was a really cool moment. It kind of reminded me, of an epic moment, because you finally have him and Scrooge kind of on the same level for the first time. He's still like Mr. McDuck, but when Scrooge walks in, it's kind of like, you remember when you first watched Iron Man and you got to that after credit scene and Nick Fury standing there?
Yeah.
It was one of those moments.
And it made me want to go back and watch the original classic DuckTales with when Fenton finally got on Scrooge McDuck's payroll with Gizmoduck. So very cool moment.
So do you think, because they're at the end, Mama and Huey saw Gizmoduck fly over the water and explode. And then Mama's there with him while he's in the body cast in the hospital. So do you think Mama and Huey know that it's Fenton?
Huey's a smart duck. I believe he would probably know. I don't think Mama's caught on just yet, because didn't she see him get thrown out of the building?
Oh, okay. That might be that. I might have missed that.
So it could be, she might not know. She's just excited that, I like at the end, she's like, he's loaded. You should go for some money. So
wasn't there an episode in the classic show where Mama and Scrooge went on a date or something?
Yeah, I believe they had some kind of romance.
Yeah, so that reminded me of that when they were standing at the door looking at each other, and I was like, oh, there's going to be something there. And then she says, try to get some money out of him. I hear he's loaded. And I thought, that's great. I mean, that couldn't have made that moment any funnier.
Yeah, the whole episode is very well written. And this was another Tanner Johnson directed episode. And we know he did the Case 22 one, so Agent 22 one. So he's doing good stuff. Good stuff. We love talking to him on Twitter. So he just knocked another one out of the park.
Some of our favorite episodes. This is definitely going to be in my top 5. And that's something that once this season is over, we definitely are going to try to put together something for an episode. One of the people in our Discord, his name's Frank, has actually put together a bracket for determining which episode is your favorite. And I've already talked with him about us being able to use that, put it on the website and share it and let everybody kind of do their brackets and see what ends up being their favorite based on the bracket. He wants an opportunity to finish out the episodes because he's actually got a system that he's separated them into to compare the episodes. And it was really cool. And we'll take a look at that. But this is definitely going to be in one of my top 5s.
Yeah, we'll have, so August 18th is the last episode, and we'll have a show about that after that week. But then I feel like once September rolls along and we have our hiatus, we'll be talking about our comic book and our read-alongs, and then we'll have like top 5 picks for different categories, like top 5 moments, top 5 episodes. And such.
Gizmoduck moments, Launchpad moments.
Yeah, I mean,
moments.
The top 5 will be full of Launchpad and Glomgold.
Glomgold moments. The Glomgolden top 5. Hey, let's do one. Frankly speaking, before we, because I think we're about done with this episode. But let's do one. Frankly speaking, Frank was asked, how did Fenton know how to control the Gizmoduck suit and beware the buddy system, but not in Who is Gizmoduck? Now, I thought that was a great question. Frank says he didn't really control it, but let it do the driving. A lot of, and he says in quotation marks, suit do something. When he did try to take it off of easy mode and run the show, things got much harder. So that's a good explanation, because I wondered that at one point, why is he suddenly having trouble with the suit when he was so heroic? But really, if you go back and watch that episode, the suit was doing all the work. He was just trying to react to it.
I love that at the end of this past episode, we found out the Gizmoduck suit was being run on bulb technology.
Right.
Like, he didn't learn that lesson by now. Just stop using the bulb technology. It goes evil. It did not work. So I thought that was great. And how Huey made it so, and Gyro made it so that it is controlled by his brain instead of bulb technology.
So we're already on version 2 of the suit.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that little Bulb's still around, considering he's a major plot device in all of the episodes that include Gyro.
Yeah, we'll have to do a top 5 little Bulb moments. Mm-hmm. He was popular in the comic books. Like, they would always use little Bulb for different things, and he was in classic DuckTales. So he is and Disney Emoji Blitz. Like, I have a little Bulb emoji. So very cool that he is still being included in the show, because he is a DuckTales character. And
he's had some very funny moments, especially that first appearance when the one of the vultures is like, what is he doing? And he's like, he's waving at you very aggressively.
Huh.
So that's going to do it. That's some of our favorite parts of this episode. Definitely, reach out to us on Twitter or on the website. We're at DuckTalks. Let us know your favorite moments. We like to keep the conversation going. Or you can join us at our Discord. There'll be a link in the show notes.
The last thing we have to talk about is Dewey Tonight got another short, which was hysterical.
These have been great. I've really enjoyed the Dewey Tonight. That segment, that whole part of the storyline for The Only Child was one of my favorite moments in the series, and I love that it was that they would go and do shorts. But this one was really good, along with the first one. They're just hilarious.
Yeah, and this could be another. What was the Death Trap 5-parter?
It was a 5-parter.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we'll get a 5-parter here as well. So we had the first episode, Webby was the guest star, and now we have Manny was the guest star of this one. There's a part where where Dewey shows the computer, and it had a couple other, looks like YouTube videos on there, and Launchpad might be the next one, which would be really cool. The Dewey and Launchpad scenes are always fun to watch.
I love when he says that the last episode was very popular online, and he's showing the screen on his waddle pad or whatever they're calling it, and it goes from 6 to 7 likes.
Yeah, that's great. And again, one of the funniest moments, Glomgold is getting bumped again. And
it's funny that he's there because you hear him.
It's funny that you hear him in the background. And it's hysterical that here's this character from the comics and then from classic DuckTales, and how much funny and what they were able to do to this character. Because I remember when we were talking about Glomgold again. Jeez, we were trying to talk about Dewey Tonight, but everything goes back to Glomgold. When we first saw his character design, we're like, oh my God, what did they do to Glomgold?
Right.
And it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah, of course, the Glomgold we knew was the one from the show, which was, just a more ornery Scrooge. He's actually probably more Scrooge than Scrooge was back in that show.
Right. Let's get it back to Dewey Tonight, though. And Manny is on it, and this is will be Manny's 4th appearance of this new DuckTales. So we've had him in the premiere episode, and then he was in the Buddy System, and then Who is Gizmoduck? He shows up in there as well. And then another way they use him, Manny. So this goes to prove how much Frank really loves this guy.
And he's been in the comics, which I don't think Frank has that much control over, but I know Frank was excited to see him in the comics.
Yeah, so really, really fun new character they came up with. I can't wait to see what other new characters they come up with. They won't be as good as Glomgold, though.
No, it's going to be hard to beat Glomgold. Those moments are hilarious. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Check us out at DuckTalks.com. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you enjoyed a past episode, if you've ever enjoyed an episode of DuckTalks, please rate it. Give us a positive rating, or even a review, so that people can find us. You can also check us out on Twitter. We're at DuckTalks. You can also find us individually on Twitter. I am at Infinirama616.
And I'm at the Pirate Steven.
I believe that's it. So until next time, stay Glomgold.
Stay Glomgold.
DuckTalks is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, or audio clips played on this podcast are the property of their copyright holders.